Well, hello, and welcome back to another super slick episode of Fun Ahead TV. Today, in this Shop Time episode, we're talking about that ladder. No, I'm just kidding, we're really not. We're talking about that jet ski right there. That is a 1989 Kawasaki X2, and you guys have probably seen it in the background of a lot of my videos. It doesn't have the seat on it right now, as you can see, but it is, for all intents and purposes, a stand-up jet ski. It does have a little seat technically, and you can sit down to ride it, but it's meant to be ridden while you're standing. Currently, if we look at the engine in this thing, well, it's not there. That engine is sitting back in the shop right now. We can go back there and take a quick look at it. It's getting rebuilt because the oil pump, which is, where is the oil pump? There's an oil pump that is a direct drive oil pump straight off of the crankshaft that does direct oil feed into the intake manifold. Well, what happened was, actually that direct drive oil pump is notorious for being a failure point on these 650 engines. And so that happened in the case of this engine, and the engine seized up. We super messed up the engine. In fact, I have a piston for it right over here. You can see when I run my fingernail across that, you can hear my finger going into the score marks, and in fact the rings are literally welded to the piston right here. Like I can't move them from this position. That particular cylinder got super hot, the engine seized, and well, we need a new top end. Let me show you the current situation. Here is the cylinder head, and you can kind of see inside of it. We got it remachined. It's got some beautiful cross hatching on the inside of these cylinders. It is good to go. We upsized it a little bit from factory just because of the level of scoring into the cylinder walls that had occurred. Also, here is the engine itself. I'm not doing the bottom end. The bottom end is actually all good. The bearings seem to be in solid shape, but I've already put the new pistons in, as you can see. That was pretty easy peasy. You just put the new wrist pins in, and then you put the little circlips inside of it. Easy peasy, nothing crazy. I've got a new gasket chilling down here for mating of the cylinders to the bottom end of the engine, to the crankcase of the engine. And then, so now, today, I'm actually just going to go ahead and start reassembling this engine. So on the note of that oil pump that I mentioned, that used to sit right here, and it was driven off of the crankshaft. And it had a hose that went from here at the end over and into here. So your direct oil feed was straight into the intake manifold. Now we have, as you can see, I have capped this line off, and we're just going to run premix in this engine from now on, which is the thing that basically everyone who owns one of these ends up doing at one point or another, because your engine blows up because of the oil pump failing. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to throw you guys on a quick time lapse of me just going ahead and putting this engine together. Hello. Well, guess what? Made some good progress, as you just saw. We got the jug back on. We got everything torqued down. It was a two-stage torque process. You start out by torquing these bolts to 14 foot-pounds, and then you step it up to 28 foot-pounds. In addition to that, I went ahead and put the cylinder head through the parts cleaner. You can see this thing is nice and clean now. There's no mildew on it, and it looks pretty sweet, in my opinion. I'm looking forward to seeing that thing when we have it all back together. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get the gasket all set up and put on top of this, and then we'll put this on and torque it down. I believe that goes to 22 foot-pounds, and it does have to be stepped again, so 11 and then go up to 22. And there is actually the exact bolt pattern for how to do it is literally on the thing. Well, if you just watched that time lapse and thought to yourself, that looks like a freaking ordeal, and all that he did in that last part was put the bottom plate on. Well, you would be exactly right, because it was an ordeal. Holy crap, what an unexpected one too. So basically what happened was this bolt was the issue. It started to strip out the threads in the crankcase. And there was just a lot of like gunk in there from before, and I think it was all just kind of getting jammed up in the threads, and then it started to strip, and like you can literally see, not really, I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera, but basically there's aluminum perfectly filling in the gap between two of the threads. So that's not ideal, obviously. We ended up getting it. I had a bolt that was the exact same length and also threads per square inch, so it worked out super well, and so I just swapped it out, used it. What did we do? So we went ahead and I put the exhaust manifold through the parts cleaner. I didn't do as thorough of a job as I thought I did, now that I'm seeing it, now that it's dried. So that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. It looks pretty clean. And then we tightened down, we torqued down the cylinder head. What else? Oh, and then yeah, we put the bottom plate on, which, like I said, ended up being quite an ordeal. So at this point, oh, and I screwed just some old spark plugs in place, just so that nothing falls down into the cylinders for now that we have the cylinder head all torqued on. Of course, on that note, we've got our towel here stopping anything from falling down into the intake manifold while we are installing it into the X2. All right, well, next step, let's go ahead and install this puppy. Here's the current situation with the X2. So admittedly, I screwed up, and the moment I shut the camera off last time, I kind of just got in the groove and decided to just throw this thing in. And so I didn't end up turning my camera back on. I apologize for that. But honestly, as big of an event as that seems like it would have been, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Now I put the new mounts in. That was really easy peasy, except for these little locator pins right here, those little guys, that thing, those had to be taken out of the old mounts and then installed into the new ones because, wow, that was a loud motorcycle going by. The new mounts didn't have them. So anyway, did that. That was boring. Again, you guys wouldn't have really benefited much from seeing that. And then the mounts were in. So I just decided, hey, this engine is little. I can carry it myself. Let's just try to set this thing in here, and next thing I knew I had it bolted in. So that's what you missed, not a big deal. So what are we doing now? So I have the fuel tank sitting in the other room back in the shop. We're gonna have to put that in soon. If I didn't tell you, oh yeah, I think I told you. So this was the old direct injected oil pump. It is now deleted with my janky spacers here, but it has the close off cap here. So it's that part of the engine sealed off. We're no longer running direct injected oil, we're gonna run premix. So the oil tank that would have normally gone right here is no longer going back in. So that's that. Also, these things are kind of known for being a pain wiring wise, meaning the the wires that come from the like kind of control unit here are hardwired into the engine. So I decided to make up my own harness, and so I just cut the wires from the engine to the control box instead of removing this whole thing, because seriously, like it would have been a pain. This whole thing is wired into the jet ski, and then so I would have had to unwire it from that, And so I just decided, well, for ease of removal, I'm gonna go ahead and just make my own coupler. So I cut it, and here's the jet ski side coupler. Here's the engine side coupler. These will plug together. Bada bing, we've got plugged into the control unit that way. Why did they make them not a coupler? Like, I don't know. Seriously, this part of the harness runs underneath the engine, and it goes into the engine. It's not even disconnectable. I realized we have to do a couple things before we start throwing the rest of the stuff back in. This, we have to make a wiring fix on the cable to the starter. This is the positive cable going to the starter. There is apparently it touched something hot at some point, so we have to make a little repair to the insulation on this wire. I don't have any heat shrink big enough for that, so for now I'm gonna clean this wire up really well and then do the world's best electrical tape job, unless I can conjure up some larger heat shrink. What else? Oh, and then we have to get the carburetors reinstalled, or the carburetor. That'll be hopefully pretty nice and simple. We've got some fuel lines to plug into it, new gaskets going in there. And then there's a lot of water lines on this side that we've yet to plug back in. This all has to do with the exhaust. The exhaust goes right here, so we'll get all that put back in place as well. So I think we're getting there. We're getting really close. We just have to make a minor repair. Got to clean out the fuel tank, which, like I said, is sitting in the other room. It's probably got some dust in it, just from sitting on a shelf for 1.5 years. So we're gonna blow that out, get it nice and clean, get it reinstalled, and then start throwing the exhaust back in. We're getting pretty close, so I'm pretty psyched to be where we are. Alrighty, well, good news, everyone. As you just saw in this time lapse, and that series of time lapses rather, we got the fuel tank in, we got the exhaust in, we got the carburetor in, and we got the battery box in, which is my very janky battery box. It's cracked apart. It's she's 30-something years old. Also, I realized I said this incorrectly earlier. This is actually the positive battery terminal cable, not the starter cable. Oops. I guess I was thinking that because it's so freaking long. I don't know why they make it so long, because all it has to do is go right here. Anyway, all the hoses are connected, at least I think. The fuel tank has been cleaned. This thing was grody. I put it through the parts washer, and now it's just nice and yellowed after 30 years of service. So yeah, as you can see, we got all the wiring connected. All of the water lines are connected over here. Ooh, let me show you my thing that I'm working on over here. So as you guys may or may not know, there's this joint right here, which is there for the purpose of running the jet ski out of the water. So that you can, this is where you would connect a water hose up to it. So I came up with a really janky connection for it. So I will be able to hook this up to my garden hose and run it. I'm not gonna do that today. It's a little too cold outside today, but this week it is going down in the next couple of days. So now we literally have all of it back together. I need to go get some fuel. I've got some Klotz 2-stroke motor oil that's specifically for jet skis, ready to go, ready to be pre-mixed into this tank. Let's see, outside of that, we are literally good to go. So we got the exhaust hooked up, all the water lines, everything, new gaskets, all of it. Carburetor's good. I just need to finish tightening the throttle cable and the choke cable over here. Guess you can't see the throttle all that well. Throttle's right here. Right now it's still loose, but I mean, it is nice because look, throttle does actuate it, so that's good. But anyway, a couple little finishing touches. Aside from that, we are ready to run, or at least try to run this thing, so we'll see.